Picture this. You're sitting in the cockpit of a Soviet-era MiG-29 fighter jet. It's older than you are. The ejection seat might work. Might. Your mission briefing was essentially fly into the most heavily defended airspace in the entire war at treetop level, dodge literally everything Russia can throw at you, blow up a fortified command center, and somehow make it home. Oh, and by the way, you'll be doing this at 50 feet above the ground, at 540 knots. That's 621 miles per hour, so close to the Earth that if you sneeze wrong, you become a crater. Your life expectancy? Measured in minutes. The Russian air defense network you're about to penetrate? Pantsir systems, Tor M2 missile batteries, P-18 radars, GPS jammers, proximity-fused missiles, and probably some guy with a very aggressive attitude and a shoulder-fired Igla missile launcher standing on a rooftop smoking a cigarette, waiting for you to fly by. Normal people would look at this mission and say, absolutely not. This Ukrainian pilot looked at it and said, hold my horilka. What followed was 40 miles of the most insane low-altitude flying since ever. This is the story of how one MiG-29 pilot with nerves of absolute steel and one modified American bomb turned a Russian drone command hub into a parking lot, and how that pilot survived long enough to tell about it. Let's break down this mission, because it's equal parts brilliant, terrifying, and completely unhinged. So here's the situation. Russia has been absolutely pummeling Ukrainian positions with drones. Not the cheap quadcopters dropping grenades. We're talking coordinated swarms of reconnaissance drones, Lancet loitering munitions, and Shahed kamikaze drones, all being controlled from fortified command centers deep behind Russian lines. Ukrainian intelligence pinpoints one of these drone hubs. It's heavily fortified, it's protected by layered air defenses, and it's absolutely critical to Russia's ability to rain metal death on Ukrainian forces. Someone needs to take it out. The problem? It's 40 miles behind enemy lines, in contested airspace, covered by some of the most advanced integrated air defense systems Russia has deployed. Ukrainian command looks at the map and realizes there's no safe way to do this. Artillery can't reach it. Long-range missiles are being saved for higher-value targets. Drones would get shot down before they got within 20 miles. That leaves one option: a manned aircraft, flying nap of the earth, military speak for so low you're basically mowing the grass with your landing gear, to stay under Russian radar until the absolute last second. The aircraft selected? A MiG-29, a Soviet-designed fighter jet from the 1980s. It's fast, it's maneuverable, and, most importantly, it's expendable. If Ukraine loses a MiG-29, it's tragic but survivable. Lose an F-16? That's a geopolitical incident. The weapon? A modified JDAM-ER, Joint Direct Attack Munition with extended range. It's basically a GPS-guided bomb with wings that can glide 45 miles when dropped from altitude. The Americans designed it to hit targets from safely outside air defense range. This pilot was about to use it from inside the air defense range, at 50 feet above the deck, because apparently, safe wasn't in the mission parameters. The briefing probably went something like, fly in at treetop level, dodge everything, pop up to 15,000 feet, drop the bomb, get out, try not to die. Any questions? Yeah. Can I update my will first? So our pilot takes off. He's flying nap of the earth, 50 feet above the ground. For context, commercial airliners cruise at 35,000 feet. This guy is flying at 0.14% of that altitude at 540 knots. At that speed and altitude, you have about half a second of reaction time if something goes wrong. A bird strike? Dead. A sudden hill? Dead. A momentary lapse in concentration? Dead. Flying power lines you didn't see on the map? Very, very dead. But flying this low has one massive advantage: you're invisible to most radar systems. Russian P-18 and P-19 radars are designed to detect aircraft at medium to high altitude. When you're skimming treetops, you disappear into ground clutter. The radar can't distinguish you from trucks, buildings, or particularly ambitious cows. This works great until someone sees you with their actual human eyeballs, and that's exactly what starts happening. Mile 5. A Russian checkpoint spots the MiG screaming past at 540 knots. Soldiers scramble for their Igla man pads. man-portable air defense systems, shoulder-fired heat-seeking missiles. Here's the terrifying thing about Igla missiles at that altitude and speed. They don't give you a lock tone warning. Normally, when a heat-seeking missile locks onto you, your aircraft systems scream at you. But Iglas launched from such close range, the first warning you get is the missile motor igniting, and by then you've got maybe 2 seconds to react. Our pilot jinks hard, violent evasive maneuvers, throwing the MiG into a gut-wrenching turn that would make most people pass out. The Igla missile overshoots. Proximity fuse detonates. Shrapnel peppers the area he was in half a second ago. He keeps flying. Mile 12. His SPO-15 radar warning receiver starts screaming. Ah! This is a Soviet-era system that basically tells you someone is painting you with radar and probably about to ruin your day. A Pantsir S-1 system has acquired him. For those who don't know, the Pantsir is Russia's short-range air defense system. It's got radar-guided cannons and surface-to-air missiles, and it's designed specifically to kill low-flying aircraft and cruise missiles. It's very good at its job. The pilot does the only thing he can. He goes even lower. He's now flying at maybe 30 feet. He's threading between power lines. He's using hills and tree lines as cover. He's flying through valleys that make the Kessel Run look like a leisurely Sunday drive. The Pantsir gets off a burst of 23mm cannon fire, a wall of exploding flak shells filling the sky. Our pilot banks hard, the MiG's wingtip so close to the ground it's leaving a trail in the dirt. The flak shells detonate where he was, not where he is. He keeps flying. Mile 18. More Igla launches, this time from multiple positions. Rooftops, trenches, probably a really motivated farmer with an old Soviet missile someone left in his barn. The pilot is now flying a pattern that can only be described as controlled chaos. He's jinxing, weaving, pulling Gs that are absolutely thrashing his airframe. The MiG-29 is designed for this. It's an air superiority fighter built to dogfight. But it's not designed to do it at 50 feet while dodging trees, power lines, and surface-to-air missiles. His radar warning receiver is now just a constant tone of screaming electronic terror. Multiple radar systems have him. Tor M2 medium-range SAMs, more Pantsirs, P-18 radars trying to vector in fighters. And then things get worse. Mile 25. GPS jamming kicks in. The Russians have deployed electronic warfare systems that are scrambling GPS signals across the entire region. This is a problem because the JDAM ER bomb he's carrying, it's GPS guided. If the GPS doesn't work, the bomb doesn't work. But here's the thing about Ukrainian ingenuity. They've been dealing with Russian GPS jamming for 3 years now. That JDAM has been modified with inertial guidance backup and terrain mapping radar. It's not ideal, but it'll work. Our pilot keeps flying. Mile 30. A Tor M2 fires. This is not an Igla from some checkpoint. This is a dedicated medium-range SAM system with a range of 12 kilometers and active radar guidance. It will track you, it will follow you, and it will kill you unless you do something very smart or very lucky. The pilot does something very smart and very lucky. He spots a small ravine, basically a ditch, and dives into it. He's now flying below ground level. The missile's radar loses him in ground clutter. The missile flies overhead, searches, doesn't find him, self-destructs. He pulls up out of the ravine, levels off at 40 feet, and keeps flying. Mile 35. Shrapnel from a proximity-fused missile, probably from another Pantsir he didn't even see, tears through the left side of his aircraft. Hydraulic fluid starts spraying. Warning lights illuminate the cockpit like a very angry Christmas tree. He's now flying a partially crippled jet. Half his hydraulics are gone. Control surfaces aren't responding properly. He's got maybe one good ejection left if things go completely sideways. He keeps flying. Mile 38. Target area in sight. Time to execute. Here's where the mission gets really spicy. To drop the JDAM ER and have it glide to the target with precision, He needs to gain altitude. A lot of altitude. Like 15,000 feet worth of altitude. Remember all those air defense systems that have been trying to kill him for the last 40 miles? They're all still there. And the second he climbs, he's going to light up every radar screen in a 50-mile radius like a 4th of July fireworks finale. This is the moment. Either the bomb hits or he dies trying. He pulls back on the stick. The MiG's nose pitches up. The jet screams upward in a ballistic climb, afterburners lit, pouring every ounce of thrust into gaining altitude as fast as physically possible. Immediately, every Russian air defense system within range sees him. Pantsir systems swivel. Tor M2 batteries lock on. P-18 radar vector in fighters. Launch warnings cascade across his cockpit. His SPO-15 is now just one long, continuous scream of, "You are going to die." 10,000 feet. Missiles are in the air. Multiple missiles. He can see their smoke trails rising toward him. 12,000 feet. His radar warning receiver identifies six separate missile launches. This is what military planners call a target-rich environment, and what normal people call absolutely screwed. 15,000 feet. He reaches release altitude. He's got maybe 10 seconds before those missiles turn him into vapor. He pickles the JDAMer. The bomb releases cleanly, wings deploy, GPS and inertial guidance activate. The weapon turns toward its target and begins its glide. The pilot doesn't wait to see if it hits. He inverts the aircraft, rolls, and dives straight back toward the ground in a ballistic descent that would make a falcon jealous. Missiles streak past him. One passes so close that its exhaust plume scorches his canopy. He pulls out of the dive at 2,000 feet, wings screaming under the G-forces. The partially functional hydraulics are barely keeping the aircraft together, and behind him, 20 miles away, the JDAMer impacts the Russian drone command center. The explosion is visible from his cockpit. A massive fireball erupts. Secondary explosions follow. Ammunition, fuel, drones, equipment, everything goes up in a cataclysmic series of blasts. Mission success. Now he just has to survive the flight back. So here's the thing about blowing up a high-value target deep behind enemy lines. Everyone gets very angry very quickly. Our pilot is now flying a damaged MiG-29 with half-functional hydraulics through the same 40 miles of air defenses, except now every Russian soldier with a missile launcher is on high alert and extremely motivated to shoot him down. Oh, and Russian fighters are being scrambled. Su-35s, possibly Su-57s. Aircraft that are faster, more modern, and fully functional, unlike his jet, which is held together by Ukrainian determination and duct tape. He drops back to nap of the earth, 50 feet, screaming through valleys, using every terrain feature as cover. His damaged hydraulics mean his control inputs are sluggish. Every maneuver takes twice the effort. More Igla launches, more flak, more radar locks. At one point, he flies directly under high-voltage power lines, not around them, under them, because a Tor M2 had locked onto him and he needed ground clutter immediately. Russian Su-35 fighters are vectoring toward his position. They're faster than him. If they catch him in open airspace, he's done. So he does something borderline insane. He flies even lower. He's now at 30 feet. Trees are a blur. He's navigating by terrain features and sheer instinct because his navigation systems are half-fried from GPS jamming and battle damage. Mile 15 from the border. Another Pantsir opens up. 23mm flak fills the sky. He jinks hard left, the MiG's damaged airframe protesting. More shrapnel hits. More warning lights. He's now flying on one engine and prayers. Mile 8 from the border. Russian fighters are closing. His radar warning receiver indicates they've got him on radar. They're seconds from achieving weapons lock. And then, Ukrainian airspace. He crosses the border and Ukrainian air defenses activate. S-300 systems light up Russian aircraft. The Su-35s break off pursuit rather than risk getting shot down. Our pilot maintains nap of the earth for another 5 miles just to be sure before climbing to safe altitude. His aircraft is smoking, hydraulics are leaking, half his systems are non-functional, but he's alive. He lands at a Ukrainian airbase. Emergency vehicles are waiting. He shuts down the engine, pops the canopy, and climbs out. Maintenance crews look at the aircraft. It's got 47 shrapnel holes. Half the hydraulic lines are severed. One engine is destroyed. Multiple control surfaces are damaged. One crew chief looks at the pilot and says, "How the hell are you alive?" The pilot shrugs. Soviet engineering and Ukrainian stubbornness. So what did this insane suicide run actually accomplish? The Russian drone command center? Completely destroyed. Intelligence estimates indicate it coordinated drone operations across a 100-kilometer front. Its destruction disrupted Russian drone strikes for weeks, allowing Ukrainian forces to maneuver more freely and reducing civilian casualties from drone attacks. The pilot survived. He's reportedly back flying missions, though probably nothing quite this insane again. Probably. The MiG-29? Technically repairable, though it's basically a flying parts bin at this point. Ukrainian maintenance crews are miracle workers, so it'll probably fly again. But here's the bigger picture. This mission demonstrates something that military analysts are still grappling with. Modern air defense systems, Pantsir, Tor, advanced radars, GPS jammers, integrated fire control, are supposed to create impenetrable bubbles. No aircraft should be able to penetrate them at low altitude and survive. And yet, a single Soviet-era fighter jet, flown by a pilot with balls of depleted uranium and skills honed through 3 years of war, did exactly that. It's a reminder that technology is only part of the equation. Training, tactics, and sheer determination matter just as much. Russia has better equipment, more aircraft, and more resources. But Ukraine has pilots willing to fly 40 miles through hell, one engine, half-functional hydraulics, and a mission that should be impossible, and somehow pull it off. So there you have it. The story of one Ukrainian MiG-19 pilot who flew 40 miles through the most heavily defended airspace in the world, destroyed a critical Russian command center, and lived to tell about it. This is modern warfare. Not sterile, not clean, not conducted from safe distances. It's pilots flying at 50 feet, dodging missiles with their eyeballs, and surviving through skill, luck, and raw courage. The Russians called this airspace impenetrable. One Ukrainian pilot called that a challenge. If you enjoyed this breakdown of one of the most insane low-altitude strikes of the war, smash that like button. Subscribe for more military analysis and drop a comment. What other crazy military operations should we cover? Stay informed, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the impossible just takes a little longer and a lot more guts.